Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Mike Francesa podcast on the Bet Rivers Network, brought to you, as always, by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos Tequila is brought to you by those who drink it. We're on the Mike Francesa channel, on the Bet Rivers Network, on YouTube on this Wednesday. We're 24 hours away from the start of an NFL season. We're all very excited by that. But first, some baseball, and obviously we have the hot Mets to get to. But before that, as devastating a Yankee loss as you could possibly imagine, as the Yankees try to find some firm footing to get on, to see if they can win this division from the Orioles. And we go back and forth and back, and today the Orioles are back in front because right now they're playing a team they can beat, and the Yankees continue to go one up, one down, one up, one down. But last night, after the Volpe base hit, the Yankees have a 4-1 lead, and you figure, okay, they are against the team that's really done nothing. They can go about their business. They can ice this game away in the 8th and 9th and go on to another victory, put a couple of games together, feel good about themselves, etc., etc. And instead, it is a devastating, and I'll tell you, somebody... the first text I got was blank, 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 blank. And I understood it completely. This was as bad as it possibly gets. Now, a lot of people have jumped on the Holmes, get rid of Holmes as the closer bandwagon. I have been on this Holmes situation from March with you folks. You can go back and listen to any of the podcasts, including the opening series against Houston when he was unbelievably lucky to get the saves he got. I told you he would not be a consistent closer. He's not that he isn't a gifted pitcher, but he is not a classic closer because he does not have a repeatable pitch that can get outs when it needs it and get controlled all the time. He isn't the same pitcher when he doesn't have the sinking fastball. When he has to go elsewhere, he is dead. And last night, a devastating defeat for the Yankees to give up 6 runs in the last 2 innings, including the walk-off, and lose the way they did last night. Just a absolute shot to the solar plexus. Now, can they recover from that? Yes. Can they win this division? Yes. Is it going to come down to those games on the 24th, 25th, and 26th at the stadium against the Orioles? Most likely. We have been heading towards that all season. One can't get away from the other. Somebody gets up a game and a half. Right now, the Orioles are back in front a half game because they've played one more game than the Yankees. They're 81-59. The Yankees are 80-59. But the Yankees are a 500 ball club since June 1st. And they are a team that has 2 great strengths and some up and down strengths. Nothing they can bank on. They can't bank on the rest of the lineup. They can't bank on the back of the pen. And they can't bank on the starting pitching. As a matter of fact, if you go for the last month, the Mets starting pitching has put the Yankees starting pitching to shame. Yankee starting pitching has been hot and cold. The Mets starting pitching has been unbelievable. I mean, if you go from really almost a month now, from August 11th, the Mets numbers are outstanding as far as their starting pitching. But that's a story for another minute. For the Yankees right now, they have a couple of decisions to make. Everyone's pounding them because they didn't go to Dominguez. Hey, they can go to Dominguez anytime they want to. To me, the Dominguez thing is not as big an issue as everybody's making it to be. Number one, we know Verdugo's had a terrible second half of the season, but he is an exceptional left fielder. Everyone's now getting on Soto's defense because it has gotten worse. But Verdugo has been a sensational defensive left fielder this year. Sensational. He has turned so many hits into singles. He has thrown so many guys out. He has done a tremendous job defensively. Has he hit? No. But let's be honest. A lot of guys haven't hit in that lineup. Now, what's bothering Yankee fans is They haven't made changes that are right in front of them. They haven't benched Verdugo. They haven't said goodbye to LeMahieu. They haven't tried somebody else as the closer. That's going to be the thing the Yankees have to make a decision about right now. If they are going to make a move, they can't wait to the postseason to decide somebody else is going to close the games. Now, there's nobody else in that bullpen who has been in that bullpen for any length of time who is going to close instead of Holmes. It's not going to happen. There's nobody there who's going to do it. The question is, can they turn heel into the closer? He can have electric stuff in spurts. We don't know what he can do back-to-back games. If we are going to try this with Heel, it has to be now or soon because we got to see if he can respond back-to-back days. That's going to be the story. We know he can strike out the side in an inning. The question is, can he pitch it all the next day? A closer in a big spot is going to have to be able to close back-to-back days in 3 out of 4. He doesn't have to close 3 in a row, but he's got to be able to close 2 out of 3 and 3 out of 4. Otherwise, it's just not worth it. He can't do it in the postseason. And maybe they're going to do the bullpen by committee in the postseason. But they are going to go into the bullpen now, and I thought they would all year, and I've told you this is why I don't think they're going to the World Series. They were going to go into the bullpen, into the postseason with these question marks in the bullpen, with some question marks in the starting rotation, and with some question marks in the lineup. Because, hey, if you put Dominguez out there, you don't know he's going to hit right away. You know he's going to hit over a long period of time. You know he's going to be a good player. You know he's going to be in the Yankee outfield next year. The question is, can he do it now? Or is he going to come here and do nothing? What is their best outfield configuration? It might be, if you want to take it from a defensive standpoint, Grisham in center, Judge in right, and Verdugo in left. And Soto is a DH. That might be your best defensive outfield. I would think it is. Do you want to do that to Soto? Is Soto comfortable with that? Are you okay with Grisham in the lineup? Are you okay with Verdugo in the lineup? Or do you want to go to an outfield of Dominguez and Judge and Soto, defense be damned, and go for an all-out attack? And then just use Grisham as your defensive replacement late in the game. And maybe Verdugo in the same role. I don't think the Yankees are going to give up on Verdugo at this point of the season. I think they've committed to him all year. I think they are going to say goodbye to LeMahieu. I do not think they're going to say goodbye to Verdugo. And I don't think they're going to say goodbye to Holmes. I'm not saying they won't try Heel, but I think they're not going to say goodbye to Holmes. I think they think Holmes has got to be their closer, even though he has blown 11 saves. And even though he's automatic, because they don't have anybody else who's going to be automatic. Hey, Bulletin, they are going to carry these weaknesses into the postseason. That's all there is to it. They're going to have to overcome it. They're going to have to get good starting pitching. They're going to have to be explosive offensively. They are going to need certain guys. They're going to need Verdugo and Torres and Volpe to play well if they're going to win. They are going to need Holmes and Cousins and Weaver and Leiter to pitch well if they're going to win. Otherwise, they're not going to win. And you know what? They're probably not going to win. They're going to the postseason. They might still win the division. But even if they win the division, they're still going to carry these weaknesses into the postseason. They had a time where they could have thought about these weaknesses. They decided not to address them. But only one of them is fatal. Playing Verdugo in the outfield is not fatal. Pitching Holmes in the wrong spot is fatal. Going to somebody else and having him flop or fall on his face in the closer role is fatal. The closer role will kill you. The back of the bullpen will break your heart, as it did last night in a devastating 7-4 defeat. 6 runs in the final 2 innings. 4-1 becomes 7-4, and the Yankees slide out of first. There is a lot to deal with between now and the 24th of September, and a lot more to deal with between then and the start of the postseason. Whether it begins right away for the Yankees because they didn't win the division and didn't finish with the top 2 record, or because they did. Now to the red-hot Mets. You want the good or the bad? Let me give you the good. The Mets starting pitching has been off the charts now. Peterson, what can you say? Look how good Manaea's been. Look at what they've gotten even out of Severino and how many innings they've gotten out of Severino. Severino got himself in better shape this year. He did a different conditioning program, and it's worked. Forget whether Severino is here for the future. That doesn't matter right now. What matters is the year he's had this year and that he's still got life in his arm after all these innings. And the Mets have gotten a terrific season out of Lindor. An historic Mets season out of Lindor. He's not going to win the MVP. You can chant it all you want. He's not going to win it, but that doesn't matter. You can chant it all you want. Alonso's got 31 home runs and counting. Vientos has slugged better than anybody on the team, has hit 22 home runs in 90 games, and continues to pound every mistake. Lindor, Alonso, Vientos. It would be nice if Alvarez found out who he is again and starts hitting again. But they have plenty of offense on this team. Their pitching has been remarkably good, but here's the bad side for this team that won such a big game that last day in Arizona. After losing that game in the 8th and 9th inning in Game 3 in Arizona, they bounced back and won the game with Diaz coming through in a 3-2 win and got out of Arizona with that win. Then they went to Chicago and beat the hapless White Sox 3 straight. You say that's easy, but the Yankees didn't do it. Everyone else does it, but the Yankees couldn't do it. But the Mets did it. And then they come back and beat the Red Sox 2 straight games and flex their muscle, flex their power, flex their pitching. Power, pitching, power, pitching. You know what wins in the playoffs? Pitching and power. That's what wins in the playoffs. But here's the downside. Mets have won 6 in a row, and they're still not in the postseason. They've won 6 games in a row. They are at the high water mark of the season, 11 games over 500, and they are still behind the Braves. They're behind the Braves after 6 straight wins. They're still games behind the Padres and the Diamondbacks off 6 straight wins. What are you going to ask this team to do? Win how many games? To keep pace, they have to keep winning. And it's not going to be that easy. They got games against the Phillies. They got games, obviously, the same 3 dates as the Yankees play the Orioles. They play in Atlanta. That may decide it. It's going to go a long way towards deciding it. There's a lot of big games to be played, and they have to keep winning because that's what it's going to take to make the postseason. These teams are playing well. Nobody's backing into it. In the National League, nobody is backing into it. Day after day, you see it more and more. I mean, look at these numbers in the National League. San Diego's 18 over. Arizona's 17 over. The Braves are 12 over. The Mets are 11 over. None of those teams have a losing record in their last 10 games. The Mets are 8-2. 8-2. They've picked up a couple of games on the Braves, but with a 6-game winning streak, they picked up 2 games. What happens when they level off? They're not going to win every game. This is going to be tough. A couple of days cost you dramatically. The Cubs were right on the Mets' heels. They lose 2 in a row. Now they're 4.5 out, 4 behind the Mets. And all of a sudden, the game starts to dwindle down very quickly. Soon you'll be inside 20 games. Everything pointing towards those 3 games on the 24th, 25th, 26th. Mets in Atlanta, Yankees hosting the Orioles. This Met team has done more than anybody could have expected. Their starting pitching has done a terrific job. They've gotten a lot of performances out of a lot of players. A lot of contributions. What's going on with Vientos has been unbelievable. Lindor got off to such a terrible start, has been an amazing player the last couple of months. Whether you like him, don't like him, hey, the guy's played unbelievable baseball. He's going to wind up with 80 extra, 75 or 80 extra base hits. He's got 30 home runs at shortstop. He's going to score 120. He's going to knock in 100. At shortstop, playing every day, playing every single day. And the one thing for the Mets is that Alonso and Lindor, they play every game. They don't sit out any dances. Going right to the wire. Hey, this Mets season's already given you a lot more than you could have hoped for. They're going to give you games right down to the finish. Now, they might finish on the outside looking in. It's possible. But you know what? They've given you a heck of a ride, and they're going to give you an interesting ride over these next couple of weeks. They're good enough to go to the postseason. And that's a revelation to a lot of us. Because nobody expected this nobody expected this out of Severino. Nobody expected this out of Peterson. Nobody expected this out of Minaya. We all looked at their starting rotation and said, this is how you want to go into the season? They did a better job than anybody could have counted on. Got to give them credit where it's due. We are one day away from the NFL season. 24 little hours. That's it. And a couple of things. First, let me put the finishing touch on baseball by giving you the baseball boost for today. I know I have it here. Let me find it. We've hit the last couple. So let me find where it is and give it to you. See if we can make it. I think it would be 4 in a row if we hit this one. I think it would be 4, which is not bad. So we'll see. I have it written down. I have to give it to you. Hold on. Baseball boost. So here's. It's the Yanks and the Mets today, both covering the 1.5. So we're going back to the well on this one. Both minus the 1.5. So let's see. We actually won with that one I think 2 weeks ago. Let's see if we can come back and do it again. Now, talking about different things, and one thing that was very popular last year was the squares, which were a very good deal. And it gives you a really exciting run at a reasonable price. Now, the Bet River Squares. Players can place same-game parlays on college football and NFL games to earn squares. The squares, and that's an exclusive Bet Rivers game, offers additional chances and profit boosts, bonus bets, and $10,000 jackpots. Bet $10 in the same game parlays on any game, and you get a chance to play the board and see if you can hit a square. Play more than 10, you can get up to 3 plays on the game. So depending on how much you wager, you can get up to 3 different numbers. And who knows, maybe win $10,000 in bonus money. So the square game was very popular last year. It was a very good idea, and they're bringing it back this year. So on college football and on college football and on the NFL. So the Squares is back, and we'll tell you more about that as we go forward. The schedule-wise, this week, we will be here on Friday with our Football Friday show, which will be on the Mike Francesa channel on the Bet Rivers Network on YouTube and everywhere else where you get your podcast. So if you want to listen to it, you can. If you want to watch it, you can. If you want to watch it live, you can. And we will be there each and every Friday with our Football Friday program, all the previews, everything else. And we will be live after the game. After the Giant game on Sunday, we will be up on YouTube with a live audio and video program. So we will be on TV, and we will have the audio, obviously, for everything. So we will be there Sunday after the Giant game and Monday night after the Jet game. So join us. And most weeks we will be up after most of the big games. So this week, as the Giants open their season and the Jets on Monday night against the Niners, Jets got a little bad news because Trent Williams came back. Hey, I can't tell you how big a loss Trent Williams would have been to that lineup, especially against the Jet pass rush, which still doesn't have Reddick, which something else to yell about. I've already done that, so I'm not going to do it again. Get him signed, please. I mean, already it's way past where it should have gone. How come these other teams can get their players in and the Jets can't? They got Ayuk in. They got Trent Williams in San Francisco. Why can't the Jets get their guys in? I mean, it's just bad management. It really is. Don't need these little distractions. It's funny. I saw a poll of people placing where the Jets are going to finish. They don't know what to do with the Jets. They're afraid to commit. But if you know anything about football and you look at this roster, all right, you want to get on them? Here's how you get on them. I don't trust the offensive line anchored by a 34-year-old left tackle who's injury prone, despite the fact he's a great player. And I don't want to deal with an aging left tackle, and I don't want to deal with an old quarterback. That's what scares me. Or I don't like Hackett, and I don't like Salad. Listen, you can get on the Jet coaching all you want. I can't. I have no argument. There's nothing I can say. They have to prove they can coach. They haven't proved that at all. Be the first to admit that. You want to tell me that they're lousy coaches? Well, join the band. But you have an all-time great at quarterback, and he has looked very good. I wouldn't have gone on a limb if I didn't think he looked good. I've watched. He looks really good. I've asked. They've said everyone that's been there told me how he's looked. People I trust. And I've watched. He looked really good. This team is absolutely loaded. And I like what they did with the offensive line. I screamed about a couple of the moves that they made, the ones that they made. So you know how much I wanted him at left tackle. He is going to make an enormous difference to this team. And they are loaded. They have as much personnel as any team in the league. Yeah. They do. Now you want to get on the coaching? Go ahead. You want to get on the offensive line and you want to get on the age of the left tackle and the quarterback? Go ahead. Do I think the Jets will win over 9.5 games? Yes, I do. Do I think the Giants are going to win over 6.5 games? You can get plus 125, 130 with the Giants plus 6.5. Put a gun to my head, I pick the Giants over 6.5. I don't love it, but I got to pick it. So you're asking me to pick the Giants one way or the other. Over 6.5, I'm picking yes. Jets over 9.5, definitely. A couple others. Tampa under 7.5. for a variety of reasons, but under 7.5, and it's a good number. You're getting a plus number. I think you're going to get plus 130, plus 7.5, under 7.5. I like that. I like the Colts over 8. A lot of people don't. I do. I think the quarterback's going to be better than you think, and I think the coach is really strong. I'm a little worried about their secondary, but I think the Colts will be over 8. I think the schedule is sneaky easy. Not early, but middle and late. I think it's sneaky easy. So I like Jets over 8, 9.5. Giants over 6.5. Tampa Bay under 7.5. Colts over 8. I might throw one or two more in by Friday. I'm not going to go previewing games for you now. I'll do that all on Friday. Fascinating. You got a lot of new quarterbacks in new spots. You got Cousins in Atlanta. You got, obviously, the number 1 pick in Chicago that everyone's going gaga about. You have Knicks in Denver, who fits Sean very well. You have Sam Darnold, the Earl buddy, starting for the Vikings. He's got weapons. You got Jacoby Brissett, who can really play, starting for New England. If Jacoby Brissett, let me tell you this. I'll tell you this right now. If Jacoby Brissett starts 17 games for the Pats, there's no way they win 4 games. No way they win more than that. He can play. Now, I don't think they want him to play all those games. And I think he could get hurt. And I think they want to play the kid. So I don't think that's the plan. But if they played him all 17 games and their number's 4, I would take it in a heartbeat because he can play. You got a guy named Rodgers who played 1 or 2 plays last year. Russell Wilson, I don't trust him. And he's got no offensive line. That's an ugly situation in Pittsburgh. Jaden Daniels, everyone's raving about, but hey, he's a rookie. Be careful. Levis in Tennessee gets the full-time start. There's a lot of quarterbacks with a lot of changes. You got some teams that lost key guys off their staffs that are now head coaching in other places. That you got to look at that. You want to see how much that's going to hurt Baltimore, what they lost on the defensive side of the ball. Does it hurt the Giants, what they lost on the defensive side of the ball? Does it hurt Carolina, what they lost at quarterback? Although, let's be honest, they didn't do much last year with the quarterback anyway. Does it hurt? Does it help him to be in Carolina now? We'll see. They have a lot of work to do. And they got to believe in that quarterback a little bit more in terms of how they want him to play. But you got a little bit of a quarterback whisperer there, so maybe that improvement works. Harbaugh, I wouldn't expect miracles the first year. I think there's still a lot of holes in the Chargers. Seattle, everyone loves him as a head coach, as a head coaching prospect. We'll see. They weren't badly coached to begin with. Washington with Quinn, not a huge Quinn fan, but we'll see. Also, Callahan, Tennessee. Look at guys where they left holes, and look at the guys who now are in as head coaches. And every team now wants bright offensive guys. That's what they want now. Very rarely do they want defensive guys. Well, this past year, you got a couple of guys that did get defensive jobs. And you got Raheem back as a defensive coach in Atlanta, and Atlanta is going for it. I mean, let's be honest, with the trades they made, with Cousins and everything else, they're going for it. But a lot of people expect big things. They're favored to win their division. Everyone expects big things out of Atlanta. So they're almost not being treated as a surprise. They're being treated as like they're supposed to be really good. They have talent. Let's see. I've always liked Raheem. Cousins can play. He can take a team, make them better. Can he make them good? That remains to be seen. Really remains to be seen. And I think Tampa does miss their coach on offense, who now is in Carolina. I think they do miss him. And I don't know how much difference he can make in Carolina the first year. I think things will be better there. But I think they're still very conservative in their approach. And that's got to change a little bit. They were really as vanilla can be on offense, that Carolina team. Let's see what happens now with a guy who's got a flair and is known to be a little bit of a quarterback coach, and we'll see how that works out. He was a surprise pick, but he had done good things with quarterbacks, and I think that's what got him the job. That, and he interviewed well, which makes a big difference. So you got a lot of interesting stories, but you always do. Because now, when they draft these quarterbacks, they want to get them up and starting and take advantage of that rookie contract. Because if you can get a guy like what Houston has done, all of a sudden you can make a big run on that first contract, and that's where you hit your home run. Because the second contract, the quarterback, and that it really might change because there's a lot of talk of taking the quarterback out of the salary cap because of how much money the quarterbacks have to be paid, to take them out of the salary cap equation and not have them tax the teams the way they do as veterans. We'll see if that passes, though, if that becomes reality. NFL's started to do some weird things, so that's a distinct possibility because a lot of owners evidently want it. So finally, football's back, and we look forward to it in a very, very big way. All right, some emails, and remember, Friday, Football Friday, and we'll do it live up on the Mike Francesa channel, on the Bet Rivers Network, on YouTube, and everywhere you go for all of your podcasting needs. All right, let's see. Mike Francesa podcast at gmail.com. Let's get some thoughts from you folks here on some emails. Let's go. Sean, which contract is worse? Wilson, Watson. Boy, they're both bad. See, when you tax yourself with one of these contracts, it's deadly. And it doesn't work out, it's absolutely deadly. It's deadly even when it's good. It's really just a death sentence when it doesn't work out. I would say, I tell you, they're both bad. Kelly, will LeMahieu make the postseason roster? No. If you're asking me first series, will he be on the roster? I'd say, barring an injury, no. Why won't the Yankees call up Dominguez? They will. I don't think they feel he's shown them enough this year. I think the guys who are watching him day to day don't feel like he's on his game yet from the injuries he's had, where they want to commit to him every day. And I think the Yankees, like a couple things about Verdugo. They love him in the clubhouse, and they love him on defense. So they're hoping he somehow gets his knack back and starts hitting again. And Verdugo's last, let's say, let me see how bad his at-bats have been. If my gut feeling is he's been better. All right, he's hit 260 over his last 7 games. You know, his slugging and his on-base are awful, but he's hit 260, so he's not an automatic out. He's hit 230 over his last 15 games. So it's not automatic out stuff, but it's not good. Not good. But it's at least now, livable. And that's why he's playing. Who is the most likable athlete in New York at the moment? Brunson, hands down. Took less money. Really kind of a modest leader. The whole thing. The one who wins or leads a team to a championship will be the most popular guy and the most likable guy. But right now, I would say Brunson without any question. Colin, despite all the talent on the Jets, can Salah keep them single-handedly from making the playoffs? No. I don't think he will do that. He could ruin them in a playoff game, but I don't think he will ruin them in enough in the regular season to hold them back. I think, barring injuries to the quarterback and the left tackle, who have got to remain healthy, if either of them are out of the lineup, it is going to be crippling. Against the wrong, well, I think Taylor could step in against a bad team and win, but I think either one of them out for a couple of weeks will be really devastating to this team. Barring injuries to those two, I think the Jets will win 11 or more games this year. And I wouldn't be surprised if they won 12. Greg, why don't more people talk about John Lynch as an all-time great given his success and as a GM and even a good color commentator? Let me say this. You're comparing him to Jerry West. I know John Lynch for a long time. I've always liked him. I consider him a friend. John Lynch was a good, solid football player. He was. You're comparing him to Jerry West, who wasn't a good basketball player. He was an immortal basketball player. John was not an immortal football player. John was a really good guy who, very solid player, made the Hall of Fame. Okay, but he's not on the level of Jerry West, either as a talent evaluator or West, the best basketball talent evaluator of all time, or as a basketball player where Jerry West was as perfect a player as you could possibly be. So you can't. I am not detracting from anything John Lynch has done, but do not compare him to Jerry West. That is not a good comparison. Chris, do you think Alonso will end up having a one-year show-me type contract? No, I don't. I think Alonso is going to be gone. I thought he was going to be here. Now I think he's going to be gone because I think they want to play Vientos at first base. And I think Vientos' power and Alonso's age and how much he's going to want on the contract, I think is going to have them let Alonso walk unless he gives them a real big hometown discount, which I don't think he will. And I think the Mets will move Vientos to first base. And I think that's what their plan is. And he has shown he's actually outslugged Alonso this year. So they're hoping he can be that kind of power hitter. And I'll tell you something. He has great power. Right center, left center, across the entire outfield. Doesn't really hit the ball deep right that much. He hits it right center, left center. But he kills mistakes. I mean, they don't go out of the park. They go out of the park. Now, Alonso's got power, but Vientos hits the ball when he hits it. There's no question. There's two guys in this town when they hit the ball, and Judge is pretty close. But there's two guys in this town when they hit the ball, you know it's out of the park. Vientos, out of the park. Stanton, out of the park. When Stanton hits it, you don't even have to move. You know it's out of the park. If Stanton hits the wall with a ball like he did the other day, he admitted he didn't even hit that ball, and the ball hit the wall. When he hits the ball, it's out of the ballpark. That's how strong he is. He just doesn't hit it enough. See, with Stanton, it's feast or famine. He either cripples it like he did the other day when he hit that ball into the seats and left, got out in about a third of a second, or he can look really bad where you just know he's going to strike out, whereas at bat is just a futile attempt. You know, that's the way he is. All right, we'll get to more emails. Remember, send them to Mike Francesa Podcast at gmail.com. Now, as I told you, the Francesa Baseball Boost, which has hit, I think, 3 weeks in a row. Head over to the Bet Rivers app to take advantage of the Wednesday Francesa Baseball Boost, which has won the last 3 weeks. Let's see if we can make it 4 in a row. Today's boost, not easy, because the Red Sox are throwing the pitchers and pitching pretty well. Yankees and Mets both cover 1.5. It's generous, though, today. Plus 700. It was 645, up to 700. So today, it's big. You get 7-1 on the Yanks minus 1.5 runs, Mets minus 1.5 runs. Like I said, Mets They're playing a competitive team with a competitive pitcher on the mound. All right? Yanks, hey, as they show you, they can be winning, and things can turn around quickly. Last night, it looked like a nice 4-1 win. Next thing you know, it was a nice 7-4. Oh, loss. Oh, that hurt. I wish I could share a couple of the texts I got last night, especially one, but I can't. I'd love to, but I can't. Friday, Football Friday. Can't wait. We'll see you later.